Hey, my name is Frank Thornton, aka FG, Cross Atlantic Piru.
Cross Atlantic. Okay.
Cross Atlantic.
Now, right now, your name is trending for some crazy stuff that we'll get into. But your name is trending for something that happened 20-something years ago.
No doubt.
You've pretty much been quiet for all these years. I mean, you did almost 10 years.
Right.
And then you did another 5 on probation. And so why have you been so quiet these last few years based on why your name's going viral?
Well, you know, the thing about it is, you know what I mean, I'm from the streets, you know what I mean? And, you know, we grew up learning you don't do interviews, you don't do this, you don't do that, and you handle your business in the street, you know what I mean? And, but, you know, when somebody mention your name or put you out there, you know, in these different platforms, you gotta, you know, I wanted to address it.
So you're saying if your name was never mentioned, you wouldn't be sitting in front of me right now?
I wouldn't be sitting in front of you right now.
All right, so let's get into your story. You were born in LA.
No doubt.
You actually were born in the Hoovers, huh?
Exactly, 57th and Hoover. My grandmother been in Hoover 60 years. So in the 50s, I know all them dudes over there. My mother, you know, out the neighborhood from over there. Not from the neighborhood, but grew up in that neighborhood. But I go home to Los Angeles, 120th and Main is where I go home to. So first, second, kindergarten, third grade, all that, you know, I'm right there on 120th and Main, right on the northwest corner. Vacant lot right there where we used to fly our kites. You got Ty's Liquor across the street. You got the LA Deuces right next door to that. So at this point, you know, I don't know nothing about gangs. I'm in elementary. You know, my first even introduction to any gang was I went to 118th Street Elementary School. So some of the guys there, my little partners that I run around with first, second grade, stuff like that, they had brothers from East Coast. That's the first time I ever heard of what a Crip was.
And we talking about 11-8?
11-8, you know what I mean? And they was ECBC. I think at the time they was the only block Crips or something, which I got this history from my little cats. They brothers was OG East Coast at the time. Now, like I say, where I'm at on 120th and Main, if you could picture this intersection, if you go one street north to 121st, that's Anthony's Park. If you go one street to 119th, that's 11-8. I grew up right on the corner. So when my mother sent my brother to the store, I had a brother that was 4 years older than me. When she'll send him across the street to get something from the store, and the 11-8s and the Anthony's Parks get the beef, and the Anthony's Parks will come out the alley, the 11-8 will come from behind the Deuces, and they'll get cracking. Now you got to think this is 1980, you know what I mean? You know, in 80, I'm what, 7 years old? You know what I mean? So this is my first, I mean, I could look out my kitchen window and see how I get going. Anthony's Parks will come out of here, 11-8s will come out of there, and they'll get cracking. So the thing about it back then was, a little kid on his bike, you know what I mean, running around. So go visit my school partners, 118th, 117th, 116th on my bike. But at the same time, my brother, he ran with Lil Papa and them. Big Papa was from Anthony's Millers. So Lil Papa, he ran with them, and they was all Anthony's Parks. So I learned how to swim at Anthony's Park. I played baseball at Anthony's Park. Matter of fact, we won a championship when I played for the Gangbusters, Coach Terry. I played for the Packers at Anthony's Park, you know what I mean? And everything about sports and all that activity for me was Anthony's Park. So, but once the Anthony's and 11-8s gotten so much right on, they always would meet right in front of our house. My brother was coming from the store a couple times, and they get to shooting. I almost hit my brother. My mother said, we got to get up out of here. And this when we moved to a city called Lynwood that I never heard of.
Okay, and so before we get to Lynwood, I just want to put this in context for those that are listening around the country and the world. This beef between 11-8 and Athens was a very active beef.
It was active.
At the time you was actually living there. This wasn't
no doubt. No.
This wasn't a normal beef. This was a beef that it was bodies.
And the crazy part about it is it still exists right now. I mean, right today, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so she wanted to give us a better opportunity, and you know what I mean? And she thought them felt like moving, you know, could save her sons, you know what I mean?
So it was your mom and your 2 sons? I mean, her 2 sons, you and your brother?
And my dad.
And your dad?
No doubt. I grew up in a full family, you know, and actually my dad was president of the union out there in McDonnell Douglas. My mom drove a school bus. I didn't come from poverty. I came from out the hood, but I didn't come from poverty. You know what I mean? And I did everything, and sports wasn't my specialty. You know what I mean? And 2 houses down was a guy who raised BMX, a black guy at the time. He was in all the local magazines, and he lived 2 houses from me. So I got into BMX. So 7, 8, 9, I rode expert at that time. You know, I still got my trophy, still got the pictures and all that. I raced BMX. So like I say, I lived a full childhood life. You know, I had the mini bike, not the one that you put your hand up under there. I had the one from the store, you know, so, but I still live in the hood, you know, and this violence is still going on right out our kitchen window. You know what I mean? You know.
Yeah, and I remember reading over this paperwork that's floating all over the internet right now. When you got sentenced, the AUSA was basically saying that you had a lot of good things going for you as a kid growing up, and she didn't really have any mercy on you.
Nah, she didn't have no mercy on me, you know. And what it is they feel you know better. I didn't understand this. They differentiate from who they feel didn't know, compared to who they feel do know. And they feel the people that do know should be punished a little harder because you knew.
So they did a lot of research, and they knew your whole childhood, your whole background. The feds did.
Man, they did the research on me, man. Hey, look, by the time I got to the feds, they knew so much about me. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They knew stuff that, like, damn, how did these people know this? You know what I mean? But that's what it was.
Well, they got unlimited resources.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.